Hey everybody, Mr. Height here again. Gone again today. Sorry about that. Kids are still sick. But I have a great lesson for you today. It is Friday. Today we're going to learn about a grave mistake. This is due today. And then I want you to do an atoms, elements, molecules, and compounds review. This should be a really great review from what we did on Wednesday when we specifically learned about compounds. This is also due today. You should have plenty of time. Then, with any leftover time, I have a Blue Kit that is linked on the Google Classroom. New seats next week for the start of the month. All right, so let's start. Here's the scenario. And instead of you reading this, I'm going to read it to you. So we all are on the same page about this. Okay? You ready? So this is called a grave mistake. I forgot. You're also given a map, okay? What I'm going to be talking about is happening at this town. All right. A grave mistake. You are a physician in a small community, about 1,000 residents. Yours is an old family in this area. Your great-grandfathers settled here in the 1800s and was a famous officer in the Civil War. Several members of your family are buried in the local cemetery. See a local cemetery? Over the past couple of years, members of your community have described to you their puzzling physical symptoms. Recently, a patient presented you with similar but more serious complaints: weakness, tingling, and numbness in their hands and feet, and dark warts on the palms of his hands and soles of his feet. You listen carefully as your patient responds to questions related to his medical history. He works in the small, local factory, Private Well, number 6. PW number 6. This is on your map. On the community map. That produces wood preservatives. He has lived in the area for about 10 years. He and his wife of 10 months have a private well at their home. He quit smoking 3 years ago and does not drink alcoholic beverages. He takes no medication, only vitamins. You meet with members of your town council and express your suspicions that the symptoms you have documented over the last few years are related to chronic arsenic poisoning from contaminated drinking water. You advise them that the accepted level of arsenic in drinking water is 50 parts per billion, ppb. The town council votes to budget money for groundwater testing that will initially be limited to wells already in existence. Here's your goal. Figure out where the arsenic contamination is coming from. Remember, arsenic is a very harmful element. You will look at 2 data sets with information about arsenic levels at different levels in the community. You will also be provided with a map of the community. Here's your map. On the top right corner of the map is at the highest elevation. So this is the highest elevation up here. The bottom left-hand corner is the lowest elevation. Remember, elevation is like, a mountain. You'd have high elevation up here, low elevation down here. So think about the first part. What direction will the groundwater move throughout the community? And how would this affect the contamination data collected from existing wells? Abandoned, private, and city wells. So if we look at our key from our data set, we have abandoned well, number 1, private well, number 1, city well, number 1. Ooh, that's kind of high. Whoa, that's kind of high. And then ppb is parts per billion. Part number 2. I want you to label each existing well with its concentration of contaminant. So go through your key for your data set, and I want you to label the wells for what the amount of parts per billion of arsenic would be. For abandoned well number 1, they recorded a 0 amount parts per billion. So you'd write 0 ppb. And then you would do that for the rest. Additional testing needs to be done. Your group is a water quality testing agency. Use dataset number 2 and label, see this is dataset number 2, and label each test well with its concentration of contaminant in parts per billion on your community map. After you have labeled all those, I want you to start to think about if you've identified the source of the arsenic contamination. Then write your claim, where you think the arsenic is coming from, evidence that supports your claim, and then reason why you think that the source of the contamination is located there. I think this will take us about 15 minutes of our time. After you've completed this, I want you to go to the review sheet that you've also collected today. There's 3 sections. The first section is a quick vocab review. You're either writing atom, element, molecule, or compound to complete each phrase. Section 2, I want you to look at the picture of the molecule or molecules and, or atom. And I want you to identify how many elements there are, how many atoms, how many molecules, and how many compounds. Each pattern in that circle represents a specific element, and each circle represents an atom. If 2 circles are connected to each other, that means that they're bonded, which means that they're a molecule. So for this one, I see 2 elements, this checkered pattern one, and this one is all filled in. So I'm going to write 2 elements. I see 3 atoms. I see 1 molecule. And because I know the definition of compound is 2 different types of atoms bonded together, I would say this is 1 compound. Okay? Then section 3. On section 3, you're using a key at the top for each element. So this is hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. And I want you to make the chemical formula for the molecule in each question. So for this one, I see N, nitrogen, and I see H, hydrogen. So I'm going to write NH3. Could also write H3N, Either way is totally fine. That's section 3. All right. So today, complete a grave mistake, atoms, elements, molecules, compounds review. Both are due today. And then with any extra time, I want you to go to the Blue Kit. The link is on the Google Classroom. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday and a really great weekend. And I definitely hope to see you on Monday. All right, bye.